Texas Prison Story family, y'all. Welcome tonight. We appreciate everybody tapping in. If you're watching live on YouTube, make sure you double tap that screen for us so we can get them likes up, get this in the algorithm. Shit. Oh, sorry about that, y'all. Quick hiccup from a rookie. My bad, bro. So listen, we have a special one here tonight. We have a guest that has served 25 years in the correctional system, been through everything, and he's a great speaker. He's a powerful speaker, and he can really tell his story good. So, my friend, introduce yourself today. I want you to do it. I'm not going to do it.
All right, man. Hello, everybody. Glad to be here with y'all. My name's Shannon Marshall. Man, I just served 25 years, like the man said, consecutive day for day in prison. And it wasn't no fun. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing glamorous or glorious about it. It's sad to say, and it kind of embarrasses me to admit this, but let's be real here, right? Because I don't want people to do what I did with my life. I went to TYC before prison. I started on this path around 13 years old, went to TYC when I was 14 years old. I did 2 stretches in TYC. I did a boot camp for 18 months, and I did a state school for another 18 months. So that's 3 years, 14, 15, 16, 17, with a short little break in the middle, like 5.5 months little break. That's it. At 17 years old, I'll get into the reasons behind it in a minute, but at 17 years old, I was indicted on capital murder. I turned 18 years old in the county jail, and I made it to prison in October of 2000. I landed in prison, and I was young. I had a big sentence, 35 years aggravated, and I knew that this was fixing to be my life. So I went in there with an attitude, with a big old chip on my shoulder, and I was mad at the world. I'm a relatively small dude. I may have had that so-called little man complex, and that didn't help none either. So in short order, I got G4'd, as they call it these days. Back then, it was just called medium custody. I went to medium custody. They shot me to the French Robertson unit. They call it the Rockin' Robertson.
Okay, hold on, Shannon. So let me stop you right there because that's going to roll it too fast. All right.
Okay.
14 years old going to TYC boot camp.
Yeah.
What was that boot? I didn't know. I don't remember TYC boot camp. I remember the state schools, but what was that boot camp like? What was it?
They weren't actually ran by TYC. They were contracted with TYC. And all of the drill instructors and staff that worked there, they was all military, either active or reserves, a few retired military. So they were the real deal. They were drill instructors, man, and it was stiff. But crazy enough, like I said, I'm 14, 15 years old, and man, I've kind of thrived on it. I like that, man. That might sound a little crazy, but that discipline and that structure, man, I think I never had that in my life before. And I think that's why I took to it, man. I really liked it a lot, and I excelled for a while, and if I could change one thing about my life, I wish I would have went to the military when I was 17 years old. I just never realistically considered it. I never had, like, walking through the mall, I never had a recruiter approach me and ask me no stuff like that or nothing. I never really thought about it. So, but I wish I would have. But yeah, it was crazy, man. I learned a lot in there and got my body right. And like, I've been exercising like body weight calisthenics ever since I was 14 years old because of that.
So, you know what? So I told my friend recently, I wish I would have went to the military too. Yeah. I hope some young men see both of us say that, right? Because we both live different lives, come from different backgrounds, but we're both now looking back thinking, boy, sure could have saved a lot of misery and a lot of hurt, couldn't it?
I look at this too, man. Like, I think about a lot of cats that come out of the hoods, the ghettos, the projects and stuff. You may, if you don't do good in school and find a way out through school or through sports, then, man, you don't have a whole lot of options. There ain't a whole lot of ways out. But the military is there. They'll take you. You know what I'm saying? As long as you ain't already racked up some felonies, man, they'll take you. And the military gives you an education. They give you skills. You get to travel the country, maybe the world. mean, it opens a lot of doors for you. And everybody likes to hire a veteran whenever you get out, whether you do 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, whatever you decide to do. There's so many benefits involved, man. It can change your life. Real
You know what
talk.
I kind of
Yeah.
said about it? So it's when I was young, we was into that gang life, and I know later you got into that too, but a lot
Yes,
of
sir.
that was me personally being young, prideful, but not having really anything to be proud of, right? Like feeling like,
Yeah.
man, I ain't living in the best house, I ain't got the best clothes here, or whatever. So we just made something to be proud of. Going to that military, listen to what he said, better jobs. And when you get out, you now have an identity. You have something people will respect, and you're a step
Mm-hmm.
ahead. So, yeah. But anyway, we're getting sidetracked, but I just wanted y'all to hear what he said because I agree. And I've said it before. I think that was awesome. You said it. So, listen, when you go to state school,
Yeah.
those second, now that's rough, dog. Like,
Woo.
where were you at, Marlin, or where
I
were you
went
at?
Marlin, which is a female TDC unit now, but back then it was TYC. That was the orientation center. Everybody went through Marlin before they sent you wherever they were going to send you. And Marlin is ugly, bro. It's a 1-story building. It's all metal and it's all closed in, man. There's no windows. Like we used to go outside to rec maybe once every month or two. And when you walk outside, I mean, the sun is so bright because it's so dark in there. You live in a dark place, literally and spiritually and all that, right? But when you walk outside, the sun hurts your eyes. It's blinding. But it was rough in there, man. The staff used to beat us up like bad, and they had like in the day rooms they had that real thin carpet, and they would get you in a big thing, man. They would carpet burn you, bro. People all down their face, carpet burns and stuff, man. It was ugly. It was rough. They do you
Yeah.
bad in there. So I
So
went
you're
through there,
talking
and then
about
I
the
went to
time.
State School. Yeah,
Oh, you went to Crockett? Yeah, listen, that's the time
I
when
went to
everything was going down and why they had to shut TYC down back then. Remember, it was so bad that they literally had to
Yes, sir.
reorganize the entire thing. Yeah, so
Yep.
my point to even asking about it is now you've been to Crockett. I know it's rock and roll. My cousin was at Crockett too. You might know him. I ask you about it later. That's about as rough and tough as it can get, right? Like, but now you're in
Yeah.
court and the man's telling you 35 years and you're talking about grown adults, you're talking about other people with murder cases, obviously in TYC it's the same type of cases in there, but I'm saying this is like the big leagues now.
Mm,
Are you thinking in
yeah.
yourself, I got this, man, I know what I'm doing, or are you feeling like, oh man, I'm fixing to have to go figure it out?
Well, let me tell it to you like this, man. Crockett State School, it was rough and tumble. My first riot I was ever in was actually in the boot camp. We were in a riot. That was the first riot of my life. I've been in 6 riots in my life, you know. But it's Crockett State School. There's a lot of fighting, man. I fought more in state school than I ever did in prison. That's crazy, right? And in state school, most of the time, you don't even know why you're fighting. It's not like you can be like, hold on, time out. What's this about? There ain't none of that. Dudes
Right.
running up on you, man. You just jump up and take, defend yourself. It was like that, man. But the one, I don't know, it sounds stupid, I guess, but the one thing I learned in Crockett was I learned how to fight. You know what I'm saying? And that
Oh,
came in handy when I went to prison, right?
that's why I was wondering. Like,
But
I know everybody did that was over there. So, like, are you feeling like, oh, I know how to handle myself now? This is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, confident? Are you scared still?
only to an only to an extent, man. My daddy was a biker, and he had custody of me growing up. So I was raised around bikers, and a lot of bikers are convicts. I've known all types, man. The MCs and such, man. Been on runs and rallies and all that. Seen a lot of violence in that genre or whatever you want to call it, and that lifestyle. So I wasn't really too scared, man. To tell you the truth, wasn't looking forward to it. But there's also this, man, and this is important. This is something I realized later is since the age of 13, 14 years old, man, when I started this whole lack of a better term, call it this gangster lifestyle, wanting to be a G, a thug, you know what I'm saying, all that street stuff, man. Since that time, man, you subconsciously you start hardening yourself. You start building up these calluses on all your feelings and such, right? And man, this progresses over the years. And man, as insane as it sounds to say it, man, when I stood in that courtroom and they pronounced me guilty of murder, and they sentenced me to 35 years in the penitentiary, honestly, bro, I didn't feel nothing at all. And that's crazy, I know. I've recovered since then, but man, I didn't feel nothing, bro. Not even numb. You know what I'm saying? Numb is a different thing. I wasn't numb. I just didn't care. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get
So
it.
that's how I entered the pen.
So we talked about that,
Mm.
right? When people come from backgrounds like you did, you grow up in the hood, things like that. It's I guess unfortunately a little bit easier to accept too. You know what I mean? And for the people that never experienced that, like they accidentally wound up in prison or something like that, it's hard. It's hard for them.
Yeah, it's
Probably
devastating.
crushes them. Yeah, it's devastating. But so you said you got what G4, G5 right away, but where did you go first? Like when they hit you to the chain,
Okay.
is
So I
that are you
got,
going to a holiday or
check
somewhere
it out.
like that, Gurney or something?
I went to Garza West first, right? And the Garza West in the year 2000. And people ask me, man, 25 years in the pen, man, what's the most rockinest unit you ever been on? Surprisingly enough, the most rock and roll place I ever was, man, was Garza West in the year 2000. Dude, it was rocking on the foundation, brother. I was in 3 riots on Garza West in 10 months, and it was insane, bro. You got a lot of new guys coming in, a bare handful of convicts mixed in, and all these guys are coming into the system. They done heard all the war stories. They done heard all the ghost stories. They think they know how this is supposed to be and how it's going to be, and it really wouldn't be like that, but they make it that way just based on the strength of their expectations. But back then we still had canned goods. Well, let me tell you this: when you first go to Garza West, and I'm sure it's still like this, the first 2 weeks you spend in the chicken coop. The chicken coop, man, is literally caged in all the way around with chicken wire, glass and chicken wire, man, and it's dark and it's ugly and it's dirty. And I'll go in there, man. I'm looking at that and I'm like, damn, is it, this whole 35 years going to be like this? And that was kind of like, wait, boy, I don't know about this, bro, but it ended up being 2 weeks, and then they put you out in population on the dorms, right? Because Garza West is all dormitories, open dorms. So I go out to the dorms, and back then commissary still sold canned goods. And my very first night on the dorm, I'm standing by my bunk, and this dude, they call it Jack Macking somebody. He got a can of Jack Mac in a sock, turned the can sideways, tie a knot down in it, and man, he went up somebody's head with it, right? Split the dude's head straight across the top, side to side, man, right in front of my bunk. I'm 18 years old, man. I'm like, damn, okay, I'm here now. You know what I'm
Say
saying?
so.
And
Listen, that's one thing that the home viewers, people that's never been, listen to what he said and think about somebody taking a can of corn or something, putting it in a sock and smashing you across the head, and that's what he's talking about. Same thing, huh?
yes, yeah, exactly what it is. They do it with dominoes also. Fill a sock up with dominoes and go upside somebody's head with it. All of that, man. So, like I
Bro,
said, I
I've
roll up
seen
and this
people
is
with
what's going
rocks.
on.
Yeah, I've seen people with
Yeah,
rocks in their cell. Hold on, but yeah.
yeah.
So when you get over there though, and they're tripping, that's 2000. Is that still the Hispanic
Yeah.
guys trying to get all their shit organized? Is that what was going on, or was it everybody tripping?
Uh,
At that time they were still having a lot of San Antonio versus Houston type stuff going on. You know, that's the note.
yes. Back then it used to be like city plexing on city, but then the whole blast thing came together. That wasn't really a thing yet. Saying at least not there, it wasn't. But so it was mostly cities plexing on cities, and people that would get tricked into this gang or that gang, like they didn't realize what they were agreeing to, but now you're in the ride. And the dude's like, nah, man, that ain't what I want to do. That ain't what I agreed to. And well, you ain't getting out. You know what I'm saying? And then if he got other people that cut for him, we'd be like, look, man, we can do this however y'all want to do it, man. But this dude ain't gonna be in the car with y'all. He ain't gonna be a part of y'all group, man. He don't want to be. He feels like y'all tricked him, manipulated him into this. How y'all want to do this? And in some cases, they would do like a 5-man lineup. The dude that wants to be disassociated with them, he don't want to be a part of that. Five of their gang members line up, and this dude would have to fight 5 of them one after another, one after another. You might do all right for the first 1 or 2. They're going to wear you down, and you're going to take a beating.
Say, I
And
got a
that was
story on
one
my
way.
channel. Listen, I got a story on my channel. Some of the people in the comments said I was lying and I made it up. But it was a dude that came from Mexico that the Mexicans was trying to pick him up and make him ride. He told him he ain't down with nothing and he'll whoop the whole gang. And he had to fight 5 nights straight. Listen, 5 nights straight. They didn't line it up on the same day, but day 5, some of us came together and told them that was enough. That man earned that. Leave him alone. Yeah, and they didn't believe me. Well, listen, they didn't believe me that Crips and Bloods and people like that came to and said, "Hey, that's enough."
Yeah,
but we really did.
Man, people respect a man with courage. You know, a man with heart. People are going to respect that. Once he's earned that, man, get up off that dude. Leave that dude alone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah,
that's real.
So I'm glad you said that. That is real.
So yeah, I've been through that, and then if they didn't want to do a 5-man lineup, then it was like, all right, man, then all of us are going to get it then. And that's how a riot kicks off, you know? So I went through all that on Garza West. Like I said, I was young. To tell you the truth, man, I got into it with a field officer. You know, they take us out into these fields and give you an Aggie, which is a garden hoe. And they want you to cut grass with an Aggie. You know, and while they're riding on a horse with a pistol. And I mean, it's crazy, man. There's no point to it. You got tractors and stuff, man. What, you know, but anyway, I got into it with one of them. And, man, just to be honest, man, I punched the man in the face, bro. And they put me on medium custody. And then they shot me to French Robertson unit. So I pulled up on French Robertson unit. All the 7 building was medium custody. I pulled up on 7H2. And, man, it was rocking. You know, it was crazy over there. But I spent about a year, well, not even a whole year, less than a year on medium custody over there. And we were about to kick off another riot, you know, and we went on lockdown before it happened. While we were on lockdown, I had some major cases that I had caught, you know, because like I said, I'm young and I got a big sentence. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. So I don't have no give a dang. And so, man, some cases caught up to me and they rolled me to closed custody, which was 8 building, all the 8 building back then.
I want to ask you about that though, because I watched the video you did and you said you said that y'all was getting ready to have a riot because of the way they was heart checking people and they was bringing people in, right? Was that what it was?
That's exactly the reason. That's exactly the reason. Because back then, you know, when a man comes in prison, they do what they call a heart check, right? And they basically, man, they're going to make you fight. You know what I'm saying? They're going to see if you're willing, if you're going to stand up for yourself, if you're going to pay for protection, or if you're going to be somebody's old lady type stuff. You know what I'm saying? They want to see where you're going to stand at. And that, you know, this is the universal language in there. This is going to tell the truth. Sometimes they wouldn't even give you no warning. They just punch you in the face just to see how you're going to react. You know, it's like that. Other times they'll call you to the shower. You know, we did most of our fighting in the showers over there if it wasn't just spontaneous. And you go up there and the traditional way to do it, and as far as that stuff goes, man, the right way to do it is to run the BMW. You know, what we call the BMW, man. One black guy, one white guy, one Mexican guy. You know, you're going to fight all 3 one at a time, right? And, you know, run the BMW. But that wasn't what was happening over there. Over there, man, some of these black dudes, man, they were the only ones doing it. It'd be 3 of them. And they're not just going in there to check your heart. They're trying to break you, man. And man, we got tired of seeing that, man. We ain't down when you're trying to break people, man. You ain't just trying to see if they're going to stand up for themselves. Y'all are intentionally trying to break people, man. And yeah, we're like, no, that's over. That's done, man. We're fixing to fix this one way or another. If y'all don't like it, we can all get it, you know. And we was all going to get it, but we went on lockdown, and on lockdown, I got rolled to closed custody. Yeah.
So listen, I have a video here that also another one that was real controversial. There's a cat named CEO Hockley. Shout out CEO Hockley. He's got YouTube. He's on YouTube and all that, right? He's one of my neighbors. CEO Hockley went to Clemens unit when he was 17 on that youth defender program thing, right? And he was talking about over there, we're talking about like 1995, 1994. The whole prison is 14 to 25 years old, I think is what it was. So it was buck wild, right? And he spoke on that, and he literally called it trying to break people. And he said it, and he spoke on it. And people, villainized CEO Hockley. They talked like he was evil and all this, and it was a terrible situation. But you know, he explained it like, hey, it was going on when I got there, and I didn't have the power to change it, so I participated in it. You know what I mean? Which is a lot of how prison works. You know what I mean? But so for you to come and say that, that's a good thing, because people didn't understand. I don't know. So when you got over there and you seen that happening, I know it bothered you, right? It's wrong.
Yeah,
They really are. They're trying to break your heart. They're not trying to
yeah,
test it. So
right.
that's what's up that y'all spoke up. And later, so now we'll get a little bit ahead of time. Now, as far as I know and ever seen, if a white person comes in, a white person does it to them. No more Mexicans and blacks. I never seen that no more. You know what I mean? They
It
still
still
doing
is in
that.
state. In state, it's still everybody. You'll be lucky if you get the BMW. Really, most of the time, it's probably going to be Mexicans or the blacks. But it
Yes.
should be
So
it should be the BMW if it's gonna happen. That's how it should be, because you
yeah.
got such a thing. It's illogical as all get out, but you got such a thing as cats that are color scared, as they call it. Man, they're willing to fight any white dude, no matter how stiff, big, whatever, how bad he is with his hands, you know. But some skinny little dude that's a black dude, or sometimes a Mexican, you know, that for some reason they're, you know, dude walk up, slap them, you know that, and they just, and like, what the, yeah, like, it's unbelievable, right? But it don't make no sense at all. But it's a real thing, what they call color scared. That's
So,
why they
so
run the BMW. Yeah,
right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So when I came in, I was a Crip and I did it with other Crips. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
yeah.
no Mexicans or whites involved. That was on some gang type
That's
stuff.
yeah, that's true. That's true
Right.
for cliques like that. You know, Crips
Right.
are going to run Crips, Bloods are going to run Bloods, something like that. But if you're
Yeah.
unaffiliated, no.
But here's what I wanted you to speak on, okay? And this is important, and this is getting slightly off topic, but you have so much info, because
Mhm.
a lot of people that are watching tonight, I see in the comments, are people who are the families of these inmates. And a lot of my viewers are, it's usually not that. I'm gonna be honest with you. Most of the people that watch this channel are people that have been to prison, people that are on parole, people that are on probation, maybe getting ready to go. But
Yeah.
excuse me, for the ones that whose family members are in there, can you speak on what happens when, if you're just scared to do that heart check, like these men come in there and like
Yeah.
what's going to happen to them? Because a lot of these women, these moms, their sons are having bad problems and they're not understanding the mentality. You know what I mean? Can you speak
Okay.
on that for a minute?
Absolutely. I'm just going to be perfectly honest with everybody, right? And that's what we do here. The most likely scenario is if a person is unwilling to fight for themselves, then they're going to want you to pay for protection. One of these gangs or something. Sometimes it's just a real stiff individual. Usually a gang member, though, you know, part of some group or another. Be like, look, man, give us $20-$30, you know, every time we go to commissary, and we're going to make sure nobody messes with you. You ain't got to worry about none of that. Paying for protection. You know what I'm saying? That's the most common thing. The penitentiary has changed, though, somewhat. You know, back then they didn't have what they, you know, the Safe Prisons program and the PREA and all that stuff. They didn't have none of that yet, and that stuff has made a little bit of impact. It has changed stuff, you know. So there's sometimes, you know, sometimes people don't really, it doesn't go down like that 100% anymore. To try to put a ballpark percentage on it, it's probably still around 60% get treated like that. But a lot of people make it, you know what I'm saying? As long as they're quiet, they stay in their lane, they don't, you know, make no noise or draw attention to themselves, they might not get messed with. Then people that do the church thing, you know, they live that church life and do that Christian walk. Oftentimes they're left alone, but not always, because, you know, people are contemptuous of what they call prison religion. You know, you come in here, you think you're going to hide behind that Bible. That Bible ain't no shield, right? That's the mentality. So, you know, it's not no guarantee. But older dudes, most people ain't gonna mess with no older dude, because other people are gonna get offended if you mess with an old school. You know, so,
Right.
you know, it's like that, man. You just got to find, and it
So
depends on where
listen,
you
you
go.
said something. You said something I don't think I've ever said. I've never said that on all these years on this channel, right? You said something. Listen, what he said. First, we said, if you fight and you protect yourself and you go hard for yourself, people will respect you as a man, and other people that you don't even know might stick up for you and say, leave him alone. But
Absolutely.
You better not be in no prison nowhere I've been and messing with no dude on a walker. You better not be trying to bully nobody in a wheelchair. You better not be trying to
Oh,
bully
no.
nobody's grandpa up in there. Tell them about that's a bad mistake, ain't it,
Yeah.
man?
Yes, man. People will cut, man. All kinds of people will stand up on that, and they might do a lot more than stand up on it. If you don't back off immediately, you're going to get smashed. We don't put up with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
strangely enough, man, criminals, convicts, felons, they still have certain morals and codes that they abide by, that we abide by. I can say, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
might let's say, listen,
Real
somebody
talk.
might mind it's confusing to people because somebody might mind their business while you're over there getting robbed, while you're getting sexually assaulted in the corner or something, but you better not mess with old Papa sitting over there in his wheelchair. It's crazy, it's a crazy world. It's hard to explain. But yeah, so everything's not evil, what I'm saying, right? It's just more of what Hockley said. Hey, it's just going down like that when I got there, so I get in where I fit in. I can't change it. You know what I mean? It's so it is slowly. And I listen, before I started getting into this, I really didn't understand that yes, there are now so when you first started, when you first got to prison, do you remember how hard it used to be to catch out? Like go to PC or
Not really,
whatever?
man. It didn't really register on me. But like I seen guys over there, like at the door's locked, of course, but on the button. And man, it would take like forever. They'd ignore you, you know,
Man,
and they
on
come over
Vito
there and
back in
like
the
if
day,
people wanted you, they
listen,
yeah,
on Vito back in the day, the only way you was gonna catch out, and it was rare, you had to go to the searcher's desk while they was running chow and beg for help. You when
yes.
you go to the
Yeah,
searcher's
that
desk
still
and beg
happens.
for help, and they would make you stand right there at that desk all day. And you got to decide if
Mm.
you're willing to
They're
do that and let
exposing you.
everybody on this prison see that you're doing it. Everybody running the child work got a chance to run over there and beat you up real quick. You know what I mean? Like, so I seen
Yeah,
now that's that safe prisons where they're taking more
yeah,
into account, and that's good for the people that just really ain't about that life, right? It's so that's a little bit
right.
different, but
Yeah.
so let me get back on track. I apologize. There's certain things I need you to touch on because these people need to hear you say it. And that was one of them. When they sent you to French Robinson, you were still young, right? Like 17, 18. How old were you?
I was 18, 19, and well, actually, I went to medium custody, closed custody, and then I got segged over there and went to administrative segregation, which is pretty much solitary confinement for the next 8.5 years.
Well, how old were
So
those
think
men
about that,
that you got put around right then? Was you around? Was it older cats, 40s, 30s, late 20s? Was you around teenagers? Who was over there with you?
bro. It was all mixed up, man. To tell you the truth, there was plenty of youngsters, plenty in the middle, and not so many old schools. You know, tell you the truth. But think
Yeah.
about that, man. I got to French Robertson when I was 18 years old. My first 10 years in prison, I never seen general population, like minimum custody population. My first 10 years, medium custody, closed custody, seg. I came in the door and I just did a nosedive, bro. My first 10 years down, man. It's
So
crazy.
you literally your story is like, I mean, it happens. It ain't that. It is rare. Like nobody on YouTube so far. I'm gonna be honest. Has the story where they just came straight in and worked their way to SIG that fast. That's that's
Yeah.
that's you right there. That's your story. And if people have never been to prison, this man is telling you he just went from only 5.5 months free, basically locked up since he was 14 years old, goes to prison for 35 years on a murder case, and then quickly works his way into the most restrictive part of prison. Like, bro, this is why your story is so inspiring and why I wanted you on here, and also why I said I wanted to watch you for a second, and it was inspiring me to see how you hit these streets running, because and I'm not being disrespectful. That's one of the worst things that we can do in life is like lose our youth, then go to prison, and then end up solitary confinement. Like when you get back here to SEG, now how does this feel, dog? Like mentally, are you prepared for this now? Where you're thinking, man, I have like 33 more years of solitary confinement now. Like mentally, how are you feeling when they put you back here?
Bro, it was bad, man. It was really bad. How can I describe this, man? You walk back there, and man, they tell you about all these wings where they're I don't know what else to call it, bro, but they what they call shitting you down. You know, there people are back there throwing feces on the law, on the guards, on other inmates, on whoever they're mad at. They literally throw feces on them. You know, urine and feces, right? That's a thing. That's like it was a big thing. It happened quite a lot. And so all this is going on. It's the whole place stinks, smells. Feces and pepper spray. You know, uh,
Let me
and to
ask you
start
one
out, they
question.
got three
Hold on, hold on.
levels.
Let me
Yeah,
ask you
go
one
ahead.
question. Can you tell them what it sounds like back there? Is it quiet? Are they yelling? Are they screaming? Are they
Bro,
kicking on the doors?
it is never ever quiet. 24 hours a day. There's noise, racket. People are screaming, beating on the doors, yelling out their cells to other people down the run, having conversations out loud over the run. Dude might be 20 feet away. He might be in the next section over 50 feet away. They're yelling, hollering, having conversations. People take their cups and beat on their tables. Like if they're mad at their neighbor, them and their neighbor are arguing, they'll take a cup and beat on the table, which echoes in your cell next door. They'll do it for 24 hours, 30 hours, as long as they can stay awake, just nonstop. And mental health in ad seg is atrocious, bro. I'm talking about it. It is a madhouse, brother. Uh, I guesstimated my years back there. I think probably being conservative, 85% of people, it breaks them mentally to one degree or another, to where they're either just a little bit throwed off, as we say, a little throwed off, man, a little off, for the rest of his life, to people that are all out nuts, bro. They just lose their entire mind. They in there rubbing feces all over their self on their walls. People, I've seen so many people kill themselves back there, dog. I'm talking cutting their veins, biting themselves, hanging themselves. Man, it is ugly, brother. Really ugly. People are running the teams, the 5-man teams, what we call the Ninja Turtles. They do it almost for fun because they ain't got nothing else to do. Man, it's another world, man.
I know it. So I wanted you to speak about that noise and them neighbors. I'm glad you did going to war and all this other stuff. Like that alone, like how long can a person tolerate this shit without going crazy himself? You know what I mean? Like it's constant
I was gonna
madness.
say they got 3 levels back there in SEG: level 1, 2, and 3. Level 1 being the highest you can go. On level 1, you can make commissary. You have your electrical appliances that they sell on commissary, few that they are. But you can get comfortable as you could possibly get back there. Level 2, no commissary, but you can still have your appliances. Level 3, you don't have nothing at all. Level 3 ad seg is the worst of the worst that the state of Texas has to offer. Let me describe this to you real quick. Like, I'm on the very last section on level 3 ad seg, the very back. This is the worst that the state of Texas has. Okay. The door, even though it has the grill work screen in it, it has plexiglass bolted over the screen, and it's so filthy you can't see out of it. The bottom of the door is welded all the way to the ground. It touches the floor. Out the side of the door, you usually have like a 1-inch gap where you can see out the side of the door, maybe talk to your neighbor or something. They've welded it closed. It's solid. You can't see out the door anywhere. No access. The vents are welded over. The light is welded over. The little 3-inch slit at the top of the wall that's a window is welded over with little BB holes, mesh screening. Right, there's no table on the wall. There's no electrical outlets in the cell. And man, they put me in there butt naked, man, covered in pepper spray, bro, and left me like that for like 2 days before they would bring me a mattress, sheets, anything, man. And it's like third world country. You expect there to be a hole in the middle of the floor to use the restroom in type scenery.
Right.
And man, I remember sitting in there in that cell, man, naked, covered in gas, man, and looking at it. And I'm young, man, and I feel to tell you the truth, man, one of my survival mechanisms, man, maybe my biggest survival mechanism was defiance. And it can be dangerous because it's a double-edged sword, man. But that's also, man, it gave me the mentality like, man, you
But
people
so
can't
listen,
break me, man.
is that why people are throwing this feces on them and they're fighting them and they're running the team? Like this is that are they doing the same thing or are they just butt naked crazy?
I don't think so. I don't think so, man. How would I describe their purpose in doing that, man? Is that, man, like for one, they have the mentality just F all laws, guards, cops, all of them, government, anything to do with anything like that. Just, they hate all of that stuff, which is a criminal mindset that, people have to grow out of if they're ever going to succeed, man. But so they're like, there's nothing else to lose. What are you going to do to me? You don't want to feed me. You don't want to give me recreation. Well, I'll dash you with this. How you like that? And a lot of people wouldn't do it. Like gang members and stuff, they had rules like, man, no chunking feces and stuff, man. That's beneath us, man. We don't do that. But a lot of other people, they don't care. They'll shoot darts, shoot spears, with little metal tips on them and stick the officers or the inmates that they're going at it with. Sometimes they'll stick a random person just for the heck of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, they got nothing to lose and they're mad at the world and they don't have no way to express themselves but to lash out in any way that they can.
Yeah, I can understand it. I did a story about a man on Gib Lewis unit that had been yelling and screaming for like 2 or 3 days, asking for help. They've been ignoring him. Like he was threatening, he was lighting fires. And then finally he lit a fire that they said, the witnesses said he really, it killed him. But check it out. It killed him and it burned him so bad that his sneakers were melted to the floor. But a sergeant and an OJT officer, brand new on-job trainer, stood outside and watched him burn. And the sergeant said, F that fool. I hope he burns. You know what I mean? Like that
ought to be criminal charges on.
No, they did.
Man.
They did. Yeah, no, it was a lot of stuff all the way to a ranking officer over there committing suicide over all that stuff, believe it or not. But that was rare because the war that goes on back there between the officers and the inmates, that's a war that a lot of people in this entire world don't know about, never heard about, So one thing I wanted to ask you that's important. So this is for a lot of the people that I guess anti-inmate or something. I don't know how to explain that. But so as prison guards themselves, do you feel like there would be any way for them to actually deal with these men, control these men, and do that without being able to run the team, without doing their little dirty tricks they got to do? Like, like it's a war that they're fighting too, kind of is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
To an extent. Some people, no. There's some people that they're not trying to hear nothing. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. They're gonna wild out. They just do not care. Whether they're just don't care or whether their mind's already broken, one or the other. For the rest though, and a big part of it is resentment because, man, they jack you for your trays, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whatever it is, man. So, oftentimes if you have a word with them or something, or they don't like you or whatever, they won't feed you, bro. And so that happens. Not getting recreation. They don't want to run rec. They're lazy. Oftentimes, man, I imagine it's still the case, but the officers that work in SEG, they're people that can't work in GP because they're either too lazy, they done messed up too many times, they're under suspicion for something or whatever it is. Go work SEG. They put them back there. So we got misfit officers working with misfit inmates, and they don't want to run you to rec or give you your shower. Oftentimes what's up? You're going to sell me your rec in your shower? I'll give you an extra tray. That's a real common thing. Most people really? Be like, yeah, they're going to take the tray.
Yeah, I take the tray.
Like, yeah, all day. Give me some food, man. I'll bird bath in the sink. Yeah, so absolutely. A lot of it's resentment like that. But you know what could help actually back there, man, and it's relatively new, is these field ministers and life coaches that they're starting to put out. These are inmates. Let those inmates walk the runs back there and man to man, inmate to inmate, talk to people, man. That would be a big influence.
So did you see when James Bird, the one from the ABC, just passed away? Yeah, so I
Yes, I
know.
did. I seen your podcast, man. That was
Yeah, oh,
gas.
that's right. You told me that. Yeah, thank you for that compliment. So listen, they
Yeah,
did tell me that on Use Unit, a guy that knew him well, his mama told me that he was some type of, I don't know if it wasn't necessarily a field ministry, but he would talk to the guys and say, and I think he was.
right.
So I had a guard tell me that he was her SSI one time back there, and they said they
Yeah,
called it something different, but basically they said Bird, I guess he had went to the grad program or whatever, but he was helping a lot of inmates along that level back there in SIG, and they said black, white, and Hispanic. He didn't care who it was. You
sure.
know what I mean? He was trying to
Yeah,
keep them
sure.
people clean because he knew what it went
Yeah,
through. But so let me ask you something. Your first year in ad SIG, now you're describing it for the people that are watching. This is a box. This is a metal shoe box. The door is welded shut, basically. You know what I'm saying? There's no windows, nothing to look out of. A year, man. A lot of things can happen to a man mentally. That first year, are you feeling down? Are you like, shit, man? This is starting to wear me out? Because that's a long time, bro. This 1 year.
brother, that's where I came to realize what depression really is. You know, people get depressed and don't know what it is. They don't know how to identify it. But back there, I talk about it like the way that I usually explain it, man. Depression became like an old friend of mine who would just come by to visit every now and then. And I learned how to recognize the signs of it. I would lose interest in everything, man. I'm tired of I'm sick and tired of reading books. I'm sick and tired of listening to the radio. I'm sick and tired of working out. I'm just sick and tired of everything. I don't want to do anything. Apathy would set in, lethargy, however you say it, man. I just don't want to do nothing at all, man. But what am I going to do? And I had to learn how to deal with it, man. And like for me personally, I started reading fiction novels, like they come in series, multiple books long, man. As long as they were good, man, the more the merrier, right? And that was my escapism. I started reading books, and when I read a book, man, it was just like I was watching a movie. I could see
Yeah,
all this
me
stuff
too.
happening in my mind, and I would read 5, 8, 10 hours at a time straight until I was ready to actually go to sleep,
So
and
here
then
goes a
hope that
real
I didn't
good
wake up
question
the
for you.
same way.
Listen, so we know how many men in prison are illiterate. They can't read. How do you think they was dealing with
Man,
that
bro,
same situation and can't even read?
that's probably a large portion of the ones that lose their mind, bro, to tell you the truth.
I
Because
think
the
so.
only other thing that relieves stress and tension like that, man, is exercise. And I used to work out 2, 3 hours a day. I have to, just to relieve stress and stuff, man. It's a survival mechanism, really. But some people don't. I know a lot of guys that laid up back there just eating, and they grew to like 3, 4, 500 pounds just laying in a bunk all the time, bro. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Did you have a
it can
certain
be very
routine that you worked out? Like, did you have a certain routine? Like, oh, when breakfast come, I'm gonna do this, and then by lunch I do
yes,
this. That's what you did. You
yes.
still remember it?
You actually you schedule out your day like that. I would get up around 5 o'clock in the morning. I do my oftentimes, strangely enough, yeah, if you really want to know, I would sweep my floor, which we sweep the floor with a towel. It's not like you got a broom or a mop or nothing in there. You sweep and mop the floor by hand in there. But that's the thing, man. If you got self-respect or self-esteem, still you keep your cell clean. That's your house, so to speak. So I would sweep the floor before I would even do my hygiene, before I'd even brush my teeth and wash my face, because I walk around barefooted and I don't like nothing sticking to the bottom of my feet.
Right.
So man, I'd wipe down my floor. It's weird, but that's what it is. I do my hygiene, a cup of coffee and some music. If I'm on a level that I actually have a radio, some music, and then yeah, it's time to work out. But you schedule out your entire day by creating structure that also helps you, maintain structure in your mind. Let me tell you something else about people losing their mind and stuff. What helped me? I had two things help me primarily. One is I was young, and the younger you are, the more resilient your mind is, meaning the more flexible your mind is. You can adapt to changes in your life, even if they're extreme changes, right?
Right.
And the older you get, the more habituated you become. You know, you get stuck in your ways, so to speak. It's not that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's just harder for an older person to change and adapt to new stuff. So I had that in my favor, double-edged sword. And I met a couple guys back there, man, that turned me on to education. They're like, man, why don't you read this right here? And we would talk, and so I'd try to read the book, and I'd go back and have discussions with them, and that's how it started. Some of the best advice I was ever given, and advice that I still give men today, because I still talk to guys on the inside. I wrote a guy in SEG just yesterday, giving him advice. He's been in SEG for 4 months, telling him how to survive, man. This same information, man. And one of the things the dude told me is, brother, life does not stop at these walls or at this fence. In many ways, in most ways, even, that's where life begins at. Don't never think that this is the entirety of the world or even your whole world. Don't never lose sight of that, right? And one thing I always told myself, knowing that I had a 35-year sentence, I was like, man, I do not want to become institutionalized, man.
Right.
So I'll try
And
to
you know, so
always keep in mind this. Yeah, go ahead.
now that's kind of what I was trying to peep out about you at first, right? Because I want to work with you, man. You're an awesome speaker. You're intelligent, but you don't. 25. This man did a real 25 years, y'all. This ain't fake. He ain't lying. We're not fronting. This is real. But you don't. If I met you right now, I wouldn't know. If we was talking about something else, if I was at the job with you, or I met you at the gas station or something, I wouldn't know. And that's real impressive. How the hell? So that's amazing. So anyway, I don't want to get on how you did that. So I do want to get on it, but in a second. So let me ask you something. All right. Uh, it's not an important part of the story, but you were back in that ad seg for a reason. Okay. You
Yeah,
definitely were there. You were a member of a prison gang. You were like really down with everything, and I know you were with it. You were 100% with it, but dealing with this torture, dealing with then it is torture. It has already been proven by the Geneva Convention, the UN. This is torture
yes.
that you're going through when you make the decision that I have to come out of this place. All right. When you made that decision, how hard was that decision? Was it easy at that time? Like I'm going crazy. I have to get out of here. Was it hard? Was it like, man, I don't really want to do it. Like, what was you going through at that time?
Kind of two folds, man. Two parts to that answer, bro, to be honest. For one, man, yeah, I was an active gang member for a little over 10 years, man. Did it all, man. And when I did it to the fullest, right? I even made rank, man. Saying, just to be honest, man, I called shots. And so that's the reason I probably stayed 8.5 years back there without going through grad sooner, because I wasn't just sitting there mildewing. No, I was still active. I was had all kinds of stuff going on, man, organizing stuff and whatnot. And so I was occupied. But there came a point in time, man, where I became disillusioned. We think that the gang life is supposed to be about this and that. What we see on TV and in music videos and such. But all that's just a facade, man. That's just the lights. You know what I'm saying? And man, it got to a point where the biggest thing, man, was number one, why do you even exist, man? Was my question, because my mind because I got turned on to education and started educating myself, started learning how to use my mind, which I never really knew before. I never knew that I was capable of being smart. I didn't know I
Right.
had the ability. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, but it's like a muscle you never use. so
Yeah.
so man, I got logical, man, and my question was like, man, why do you even exist? What is the point or purpose for your existence? That has to be the very first question. And nobody had a good answer. Yeah, this is what the paperwork says, but what are you doing to support that? Nothing. Nothing. So is it really real? What is the point, man? Just so you can be able to say, what's up, homeboy? Hey, bro. Oh, yeah,
Right.
look at me. I got friends. I mean, what's the
Right.
point of that? So I got disillusioned, man. And the second part of that was no, whenever I looked around me, and man, there was a lot of my so-called bros that, man, bro, just to be blunt about it, man, a lot of these dudes were trash, dog. You know, and I look at them, I'm more ashamed, I'm more embarrassed to claim that dude as my brother than I am, you know, proud to embrace him. And when that be, you know, that comes the point, man, that no, something's wrong. Something's got to give. It ain't cool. You know, the flip side of that, the other point, this I think is important. Loyalty. Loyalty is it's a quality virtue. You know, loyalty is something that's it's a good thing in most instances. And the thing is, most convicts, most inmates or whatever, if they're, especially if they're a gang member, they have a very strong sense of loyalty, you know, to the toe tags and this, that, and the other, right? You know, to death, all this, man. And
Oh, he froze up
you
on
know,
us.
okay, I said loyalty is a beautiful thing, man, but it can be misused and misplaced. You know, loyalty always has to be a two-way street. And man, if it's not a two-way street, man, that's not real loyalty, man. That's usury.
So
You're
let me
getting
say
used
something,
and
bro.
used.
That was one of the deepest things I heard in years. Loyalty can be misplaced and misused, and that is what all gangs are about. And that's why I tell people, like, listen, I spent 25 years active gang banging in state jail, in TDC, in the feds, in the streets, and I was 100% loyal to something that didn't exist. It wasn't real. It wasn't loyal back to me. You know what I'm saying? And I can't even explain it nowadays. So I totally get it. But the reason I tell people to stay away from it is because of that loyalty misused. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's where that key comes in your back. That's where you really become that crash dummy, because these older guys are going to see that this youngster's loyal. Like, he really is about this business. And they're going to let you prove it, let you show it. You know what I'm saying? That's normal. That's normal business, though. So that was nothing unique to you. That was actually normal for us as kids and coming up, especially you're in this environment, you know, but you ascend to the rank of now you got some rank, people listening to what you say. You've been there, you put in work, you know, like, and I know you're a loyal person. So that was my real question. Like, when it comes time to be grad, did you feel like, nah, I'm being disloyal, or was you just ready to be done? I probably would be ready to be done after that.
Yeah, I was done. But let me add this last point on loyalty. Even when a person gets to the point where they've had enough and they've become disillusioned and they know that it ain't real, even then, even though you know this, you know, you have such a strong sense of loyalty that you're still, it's hard to let go, man. It's hard to let go. You don't ever want to break loyalty, man, break your oath, break, you know, anything like that. It's hard, bro. Even when you know that it's not real, it's still hard to do that, you know, and that's crazy, but that's how it is. But when I got to the point where I was ready, I was like, no, man, I've been sitting back here almost 10 years, bro. I got to go, man. It ain't nothing happening back here but people going crazy. You know, I need to get out. Like I said, I got turned on to education. So I'm thinking like, man, I need to get out here and, you know, learn something, take some classes. I need to do something for myself, man. I don't want my life to be a waste. You know, I don't want to die before I ever live type stuff, man. So, you know, I wanted to do stuff, man. And I didn't have no problem at all going to grad. And I didn't get no lashback from the gang or anything, man. I had enough time where they weren't tripping on none of that, man. I was like, bro, I'm done. I did mine. Yeah.
Right. No, I
So,
know.
yeah,
I know
that's where I
that
went.
for sure. So people don't understand that part too, right? Hey, when you leave out with respect and you're just done, say my homeboy that did the videos with me, lifelong crip, he was calling shots and everything too. And he reached the age where he just was pretty much telling the homies, I'm done too. He said, you know, I ain't, you know, we don't have to do the grad and all that type of stuff, but it's every bit just as hard for us to do it. Like, because of the loyalty, the mental things, you know, these are your friends now.
Yeah.
How are they gonna feel about you? Blah blah blah. But I think it just comes to maturity
Yeah.
time. So, when you
I need to say one thing more about grad.
Yeah.
About the grad program. I went to grad in 2010, graduated in 2011. I went to the LS1 unit program. Man, a lot of people, I think, have a misconception. The guys that go to grad, they're doing some type of snitching or something, that they have to give up some information in order to go to grad. That is absolutely not true. not one little bit. You don't have to give up nothing. You ain't got to tell on nobody. You don't got to tell nothing at all. All you got to be doing is all you got to do is be willing to disassociate yourself from whatever you was affiliated with. When I went through, it was like a year-long program, and you take classes and stuff in it, man. They had some good classes too, by the way. But that's absolutely not true. That's a stereotype. Like, man, that fool went to grad, man. That fool must be a snitch. No, sir. Not
Well, you
true
know
at
where that
all.
comes from? Because there are
They
certain
hating.
states. There's certain states where they
Yeah.
really do put them through these serious debriefings where they got to draw maps out and do crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's more of a
Dang.
getting all the systems
Okay.
confused and stuff. But every person that I personally know that went through grad, man, I got the mechanic at my work. He was ABT, went through grad. You know what I'm saying? He still did many years after that in GP just fine with his respect,
Yeah.
everything cool. You know, people don't understand that, and I'm glad you said that. So here's my question though: when you complete
Yeah.
grad, I'm not sure where they send you next to, but when you got to general population again, did that almost feel like a level of freedom to you?
Man, it was very weird, to tell you the truth. Like, I came in the system, like I said, medium custody close. There wasn't no safe prisons or no PREA. There wasn't no telephones in prison. Like the pay phones, wasn't none of that. So I come out of SEG in 2011, and man, the whole system is different. It is totally different, man. I mean, I've been down like 10 years at this point, maybe a little more than 10 years already, but I feel like a new boot. I feel like I'm the new boot, right? It's totally different, bro. It was kind of weird, man. It was hard to adjust. They had PREA and safe prisons, they had telephones, you had, you know, the population wasn't treated the same. There was a lot of stuff that was different, man. So it was an adjustment period, to tell you the
So the
truth.
reason I asked you specifically about that is a lot of this was going on before you got out, but I'm sure you got wind of it. There was Clinton Young. He was from East Texas, and he did about 20 years on death row. He got out on an appeal, right? But actually, so he had two separate murder charges. They vacated the conviction on one, and instead of retrying him on that, they just indicted him on that second murder, and they sent him back for 30 years. But people keep asking me to speak on how I think Clinton Young feels after being 20 years in solitary and then coming to GP. And you just explained it. I literally said, I think he's going to feel like it's his first day in prison again.
Yes, that's true. That is true. And then, like I said, depending on where you're at or where you go, just like if it's your first day of prison, man, they want to run a heart check on you. They want to see if you're going to fight. It's like starting all over again. They don't know you, so they want to test you. They want to see who you are, how you're going to act, how you're going to carry yourself. So
Right.
it's like starting all over again. That's yeah. Another trip, man. You mentioned your boy was on death row. Ellis One unit back in the day used to be death row. They had it over there. I actually lived on G15. When I went through the grad program, I lived on the run that used to be death row. It's still
Oh,
got
that
all
was
the
it.
chicken wire over the windows and bars and stuff. It's dark, but I lived in there, man. It was
Like
crazy.
Shannon, the
Another
people
thing,
at
man, when I
home,
was
hold on,
yeah,
listen.
go ahead.
The people at home, I know this is going to sound goofy and I'm sorry, but they're going to want to know, did you ever hear any ghosts or see any spirits of these men that got executed for death? Got any stories?
I was gonna say that. That crossed my mind. Man, I used to sit in the cell and I'd be reading a book, and I swear, man, I'd see somebody walk past my cell, peripheral vision, but I don't hear no keys or no footsteps, man. So I get up and I go to the door and I try to look down the run. I might stick my mirror out so I can see down the run. There ain't nobody out there, bro. That's happened quite a few times on different units, man. There ain't
No,
nobody out there.
I know these
Yeah.
places. So listen, if there's ever gonna be a haunted house, it's gonna be these big houses where everybody died in violent ways, overdoses, suicides. You know what I mean? They not too many people was closing their eyes in peace. You know what I mean? So I wanted you to say that. So, but check it out. So now we're gonna get into the development of you as a real life grown man, though, right? And this is what made me proud of you. And I'm gonna admit to the people that are watching, we got about 500 people watching. Listen, so this man, I met this man through my friend Ashlyn, right? The one that was on the video, did a couple videos with me and everything. She told me about him way before he ever got out. All right. She was like, hey, this guy, he's coming home. He's with my son down there. He's a mentor. He's a leader. Basically, what she told me was, she told me everything about her son when I first started dealing with her, and kind of explaining, because I was curious to why she wanted to be a prison advocate, right? I'm always wondering what drives somebody, because it's kind of uncommon in this world. Well, that's when she led to speaking about this man, saying that her son is young. He's got 20 egg. He's down there, and basically said that this guy was a leader and a positive influence. And that kind of piqued my curiosity, because I'm thinking there's very few people in prison that, it's not that they want to see you fail, but there's not enough people in prison that want to see somebody succeed either, right? Like, how do you make this man? It's so hard to explain what I'm even asking. How do you make this? Yeah, the transition from this guy that's sent now down in this prison gang, only been free 5 months, like back here where they're throwing doo-doo, they're going crazy. Now you're in GP, and you make a transition again as a leader in a positive way, in a negative place. Like, was that hard? Like, was the devil working on you, trying to shoot shit your way? Like, was this an easy path? How did you become that man you were that she told me about? Or do you even know it? You know?
Yeah, I do know. I'm just trying to think of where to, it's like two things again, like with so many.
It's
right?
a night and day difference, right? We're talking night and day difference right here. That's why I asked this.
One thing is, the beginning of it maybe was, there was a lot of dark years, those seg years, predominantly, where I would wrestle with the thought, like, man, I've wasted my life, man. I ruined my entire life, man. Like, and I'm young, so it's like my life is over before it ever really started. And man, they used to eat me up, man. I hate that. And then I got obsessed with this question, like, what is a worthy life? What is that? What does that mean? And I realized it's a worthy life is going to be different for different people. So how can I still have a worthy life, man? What is a life worth living? Like, whatever your spiritual walk is, man, when you die, are you going to be able to look back on your life and think like, man, I did some pretty cool stuff, man. I imagine there's always going to be some regret, because we're going to make mistakes and we can't do everything. There just ain't enough time. So there's going to be regret. But on the other side of those proverbial scales that everybody likes to use, how much satisfaction can you take in your life, right? What's going to give your life meaning? Does your life have any meaning? Does it mean anything? And do you want it to? And me, I decided I wanted my life to mean something, right? I want to have a worthy life, whatever that may mean. It's a work in progress. But so that was something I wrestled with for many years, man, part of that depression and everything. The education, man, starting to open my mind beyond the prison walls, man, learning stuff, history, psychology, evolution, science, man, just all this stuff became fascinating. I started using my mind and growing. Then I started reading some self-help books, man. It sounds lame when a person says self-help book, because there's probably a bunch of lame self-help books out there, but there's also some really, really great books out there, man, that will inspire you and motivate you and make you want to get out there, man, and do something, man. And for me, when I started learning stuff, I became passionate about it, and I wanted other people to know this stuff too. Like, people would get tired of me, like, so-called preaching at them, because, man, I'm passionate, man, and I want to share this with you, man. I want you to know what I know, and so, man, and I'm still like that. I still have that passion, so it sustains me. It nurtures my soul. There's a quote that says, the best way to learn anything is to teach it to somebody else. And I believe that, man, so I try to do that. Yeah.
True that. And I just appreciate you being here tonight, man. And this man totally understands the assignment here, what we're doing about this is not the life you want. It sucks. And so I'm gonna get on a little bit more about that, Shannon. So you're
Mhm.
fresh out, right? This man has been. How many different units have you even been to? Do you remember? It's been a bunch.
Just to guesstimate it, somewhere between 15 and 20 across the state of
15,
Texas,
20,
all over the place.
right? So, were any of those 15 or 20 a place you would recommend somebody to go visit? You know what I'm saying? Like we
Say
don't,
that
none of
again.
them. I'm just trying to get you to say none of those was worth a damn, and this ain't the life they want, right? All
Oh,
15 or
brother,
20 of them suck in their own way, don't they, man?
look. Let me put it like this, man. Yeah, definitely not. I mean, that's like a no-brainer, man. You do not want to go to prison. Some people think they do, oddly enough. You know, they got uncles, brothers, fathers that are in prison, and they hear some of these stories and they think that they sound cool, right? And man, they expect to go to prison someday. So when it happens, they're not messed up about it. I heard a youngster, you know, he just got sentenced in Dallas County. Like I don't remember how long, maybe 20 years or something, and he was like looking forward to it. He was excited about it, right? I just look at him like, well, you're in for a rude awakening, you know, for real. But for me, man, like I said, I started young, and a lot of people are these days, man. And the problem, you know, one of the roots of the problem is with our youth, you know, young men, anywhere from probably 12, 13, you know, to 21, all in that youth category. Man, let me be honest with you. For me, I bought into the lifestyle. You know, I bought into the lifestyle of, and I'm not trying to displace my own responsibility in this at all. I swear I'm not. I'm just trying to be honest because I've analyzed it. The influence of the music, the whole gangster rap genre. You know, there may be a few others too. Like heavy metal is all about anger and rage. You know what I'm saying? But gangster rap is what most people are listening to, and that whole culture of what it's cool to be a thug, an outlaw, a G, pimp, player, hustler, sell birds, you know, pack pistols,
Yeah.
you know, pop somebody if they get out of line. This is what's glamorized. But I bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. Okay, this was cool. Well, let's do this. You
Me
know,
too.
so that was a major influence. The second part of that is who you call your friends. You know, who you start hanging out with. You know, psychology tells you the five. I've heard you say this, a matter of fact, also the five people that you spend the most time with, your friends, who you associate with the most. You can look at those people and see a reflection of you, whether you like it or not, man. You are your friends, as they say. You are your friends. And I fell in with people in that same mentality. So we motivated each other to take it even further, you know, in that lifestyle. And man, there's only one road that leads to. It's not cool, man. That stuff's a front. Most of these rappers ain't living that way, and the ones that really do live that way, they end up dead or in prison themselves.
Bro,
You know,
let me
there's a
tell you
ton of
something.
them.
Let me say something. All right. In my entire life, I've never listened to any other music except rap. And I ain't never
Yeah.
listened to a country song, never listened to rock, right? Never, none of that. And I agree too. But listen, at 40, I'm fixing to be 45 this year. I still, so I don't, music isn't even a big part of my life no more, right? I'm so busy, but I still like the rap. But with what you just said, you know, I will never turn on a rap song around my daughter. Never. All it's gonna teach
But
her
what
is how to
about when
shake
she's
it.
around her friends?
Hey,
Yeah.
so
When
this is the
she's
thing.
around her
I can't
friends or when
control
she's at
that.
school.
Right. So I can't control that. But here's the deal. I can't consciously turn her on to it. I can't be the
Right.
reason she
That's
likes it,
another thing.
right? So now my daughter
Yeah.
just
That's another
natural with
thing.
nobody teaching her anything. She listens to stuff like Katy Perry and Taylor Swift, and
Mhm.
I'm listening to my daughter jam, and
That
I'm
ain't too
like,
bad.
man, this is getting
Yeah.
on my nerves, bro. It kills me to hear that music, but I won't say nothing. I'm like, hey, this music
Nope.
is not teaching her.
Encourage that.
Yeah, listen, it's not teaching her to
Yeah.
kill, steal, and you know, do all this crazy
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Sell
Maybe
drugs. Yeah.
none of that. So if she comes to a
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
where she starts listening to that or whatever, guess what? I'm moving into the country, man. We gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna pay attention to all that.
Yeah,
And
man.
you're right. But I personally know myself, known them for years, way before YouTube, a lot of the Houston rappers, just from the streets and from people like very few of them really live that life, right? Famous people, very few of them ever live that
Yeah.
life. And the ones that live that life, they fell off back in the day because the record labels didn't want to deal with them due to living that life. So we have these actors. They're actors, bro. Most of them rappers are actors, and they're leading men like me and you to just be all in with the program. And it's sad. And
Yes, sir.
I don't see no way of changing that right now because the way they push them, the radio, the industry. I really feel like the industry itself has ill will for these children, and man, it's sad. You know.
Yeah, there's no point to it, man. And like I say, by glamorizing this stuff, man, these people are like de facto role models for our kids, man, for the youth. They want to be like these cats or how they think that these cats are. And man, but you know, a man's mind doesn't fully mature. I learned this too, man, just through educating myself. But like the frontal lobes of the male brain don't develop completely until you're between the ages of like 23 to 25. And the frontal lobes of your brain are what deal with like rational decision making and logic and thinking about consequences, long-term type stuff. That's not so we're not fully mature until we're almost 25 years old. And these kids, man, they don't stop to think like now I think like, okay, a gangster, a G, pimp player, hustler, slinging dope, doing all this and that. On the cool, man, what's so glorious about that? What's so cool about that? So what's respectable about that? Really, when you ask yourself the honest question and stop to think about it, is that something that's really admirable?
Mm-hmm. Oh, for real.
Why? Why would
So,
it be?
do you remember
I
this
don't
is
get it, man.
something I just told you before we started this though? We were talking on the phone, and when you told me about the making your life worth something, right? Like really making your life
Yeah.
something. Man, you're on a great track right now, and that's why I told you I'm proud of you because I told Shannon, listen, y'all, I told him myself the although me people that's never been locked up. I mean, nobody, ain't did no 25 years, none of that. The same dreams that he has right now, a lot of us still have. I literally told him I've all my life dreamed about going to Europe, going to Hawaii, going to Jamaica. Probably the same normal things you were dreaming of in that prison cell. But I still ain't done it, and most other people haven't done it out here in real life, right? Like so, man,
Yes.
I'm rooting for you, man. I want to see you in Hawaii before I make it because it will be more
We'll go
impressive.
together.
Yeah, hey, that's cool too. But you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be impressive when you do it. I know you're gonna be there. You know what I mean? Because hey, listen. So this man got out. Here's the crazy part. And Ashlyn spoke on this. She did the podcast with me and my bro AR. You got out
Yes.
after on parole after 25 years, and he got the world's quickest parole violation and got locked back up, y'all. What's going through your mind
Woo!
right there? What is going through your mind at this moment? Like this is torture. Now this
Well,
went from physical to mental
yeah,
torture.
man, it was let me explain just a bit to everybody else so they know. I got released after pretty much I was like 3 months shy of 25 years. So call that 25 years. I get released. Whole nother story is I was supposed to be released 3 months before that, and they didn't let me out. They just didn't let me out. So I was those last couple months I was tripping. I woke up every day with the realization, like, man, I'm not supposed to be in here right now. I've done my time. I'm supposed to be free, but I'm waking up in there every day. So I went through that first. Then I finally get released. Even that's another story, but in a nutshell, they bounced me off like 12 different units just on my way to pre-release, and I lost 15 pounds en route over 12 days on nothing but peanut butter sandwiches every now and then and stuff like that. Prison buses, transfers everywhere. Lost 15 pounds. Anyway, I get there. My date comes. I get out. And the problem was, man, they put me on a GPS monitor. That's something else I want to tell everybody. You think the gangster lifestyle is cool, selling dope? You know you're going to prison sooner or later, one or the other. What's so cool about that? Well, what's so cool about this right here? Yeah, y'all see that? Yeah,
Yep.
that's a GPS ankle monitor. They know where I'm at every second of every day. Okay, what's cool about that? Absolutely nothing. But so I get out, I got this monitor on. They tell me go to your approved address and nowhere else. Do not stop anywhere. My address is in Dallas. They release me in Houston, right? So whenever I get picked up, a friend of mine drives 5.5 hours to come pick me up because I don't have no family left. All my family died while I was in prison. I'm an only child. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have no family to go to. So I was going to a friend's house that allowed me to come up there. I got his address approved, man. I'm good. When I get released, my buddy that picks me up, man, he tells me, hey, bro, that address ain't no good no more, man. Homeboy's mom sold the house out from under him. He's like
Oh
living out of
man,
his car right now. Yeah, I'm like, oh man, I'm
I
on a
didn't know
GPS
that.
monitor. I'm like, dang. So the only phone number I got, I ain't never met no PO or nothing yet. I don't even know who they're going to be. So the only number I got is I got a phone number for the parole office. When you call that number, you get the front desk, which is like a secretary type lady. And you know what I'm saying? And they're short shrift. They ain't got no patience, no tolerance for nobody. Who are you? What's your number? Who do you want to talk to? Transfer.
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
so I call this number, and short end, man, I called between Houston and Dallas, a 6-hour drive. I called the office 7 times. It's on my phone call log. 7 times, man, and I got voicemail after voicemail after voicemail. I left 2 recorded voicemails telling them who I am. This is what's going on. I don't know what to do. I've just been released. I don't want to get in no trouble. I'm trying to contact
So,
somebody.
hold on. Let me stop
7
you for a
times,
second.
bro.
Let me stop you for a second. This now is the evolution of a man right here. He just said he got 35 years, stood in court, and didn't care. Now he's on his way back home, tripping, blowing up their phone. I ain't making fun of it. I'm just trying to show them how this shit will change a man, right? Like this is different, right? He went from not caring, going straight to seg to now, please answer this phone. No, it's for real. It's serious. I had an ankle monitor on before. I had to wear one for 9 months, so I know how you feel. It's serious. It can even go dead, and you'll
Yes.
be tripping, and you're in trouble. They'll be calling you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, yeah,
Absolutely. They have. When I'm at work and I lose GPS signal because I work in these industrial warehouses and such, the command center will call me, sir,
right.
can you step outside for 10 seconds, please, to regain? Absolutely. I'm on my way.
Yeah, for real. So
Yeah.
listen, when
No,
when they're not answering and everything, and you're realizing, hey, this might not go so good. Now, how you feeling? Like you're like, oh man, this ain't even my fault. Now this sucks.
well, for lack of a better term, man, I'm kind of panicking a little bit. And I'm not the panicking type. I don't
Yeah.
believe in panic, right? But I don't know how else to describe it. I'm a little panicky. So I
I
leave
would be
two
too.
two recorded voice messages, and I tell them, man, I don't know what else to do. So as of right now, I've paid for a legitimate sober living house out of my own pocket. Money that I'm supposed to be using to start my life. You know, I paid for a sober living house. That's where I'm going to spend the night, and I'll be there first thing in the morning to report because I was told to report the next day by 9 a.m. I mean, I pay for an Uber to take me from the sober living house to the parole office, and I'm there at 8:30 in the morning. I sign in and I sit in the lobby for like 2 hours. Nobody ever speaks to me, says nothing, anything. Finally, they get up, they open the door and they call my name. So I'm like, all right, let's finally. I grab my stuff, I walk back there to the back, and there's 3 cops standing there to arrest me.
Oh
Not a
man.
word said, not a question asked, not one word, bro. Put everything down. And they were aggressive. Like they were expecting me to stud up or something. They were aggressive. And I told them, like, look, bro, I'm not resisting. I'm just trying to tell that, man, can I talk to a supervisor or something, man? Like, put your hands behind your, man, they're getting loud, aggressive, mean. I can't do nothing but make the situation worse. So I just comply. And brother, man, I'm devastated, bro. I did not see that coming in a million years, man, because I didn't do nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? And man, they don't care. You know what I'm saying? Nobody would listen. Nobody gave a damn. I went, man, after 25 years in prison, man, I spent my first month in the free world in Dallas County Jail. That's
Isn't that crazy?
crazy, dog. That came closer to breaking me than 25 years in prison did, bro. I'm telling you, for the first time since probably 2001. Well, that first night, man, I shed tears in that hole.
What were they
I ain't
telling you?
lying.
Listen,
Yeah, that's
did you like as you was getting arrested, did your PO say, "Hey, I'm gonna try to help you. I'm gonna work with you"? What I mean, did they say, "Hey, just put your hands behind your back and just
never met the
drag you off"?
PO.
Oh, you didn't
Never
even get
met
to
the
see him?
PO.
Are you serious?
Nope. I'm serious. Never met him. Never even met him. Yeah. A
Yeah,
couple of days
that's
later,
hard
PO
hitting.
shows up at Dallas County. PO shows up at Dallas County to serve me the paperwork for a revocation hearing on a technical violation because this GPS monitor shows them that I did not go to my approved address like I was told to. The address does not exist. It's either an abandoned house or maybe some other family or something lives there now. I can't go to that place. It doesn't exist no more. What am I supposed to do? And none of y'all would answer the phone. Yeah,
Man,
that's
yeah,
what happened to me.
yeah. So when that happened, I know that was just that was like a mental defeat right there for a minute, like because they're talking about on a technical violation too, man. Most people they're gonna let that slide right away. You know what I'm saying? And then now they're coming down on you.
Yeah.
But I'm knowing when I hear it. Well, he has a murder case. He's was confirmed gang member. They're looking at all this type stuff, and they're going to be looking at this for the rest of your life. Like this is going to be something that
Yeah.
holds over you. So that's why I'm proud of you because listen, talking to you, the way you've been working from the first day out, the way you didn't let that defeat you like a lot of people would. You didn't crash out. You didn't go in there and kill somebody in the county. You didn't beat up no guards. You didn't catch no free world case. You literally just waited it out, and it ended up working out. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy for you on that. But oh man, this is just an amazing story right now. So listen, we talked about that. You don't got to say where you're working. You don't got to say where you're living. None of that stuff, right? But I want these people to know this man came out and went straight. So I got a job my third day home from the feds. You got one maybe even quicker. And there's very few people I've ever seen did like you or me. I feel like for the fact that I got a job on my third day out, and it was a job that could pay my bills, pay my rent. So I got a job on my third day out, and I made a baby on my third day out, my only child, right? So a lot of things.
Yeah, that part ain't surprising.
Yeah, my third day out changed my life in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? But I know that was a reason for my success on staying out because I was in the feds, bro. I had plans on probably running dope up to Chicago because I met a lot of good, solid dudes up there. There were GDs and their paperwork was clean. I know they never cooperated. So, man, I had bad intentions. But when I realized I'm having this daughter and now I'm knowing I'm going to have to be the strong, dominant parent in this relationship. I'm probably going to be, I'm not going to be able to be this absent father and that baby still be okay is what I'm saying. Right. So I'm feeling this responsibility coming on me and all this type of stuff, but it was the job part is what I'm saying. The working allowed me not to have to take those chances, those risks. I'm not rich, bro. I still live in the hood. I try to save all my money. You know what I'm saying? I'm not living like I thought I would be this many years out, but everything I've put in me is in my daughter. So, man, you're gonna have to keep working for sure. And you like working, you know, you like it, it's cool, but the something else, you're gonna have to like something else. Do you have goals, like something to put that energy into? Like, is there something you enjoy, something else?
Yes.
You're gonna make a baby? I don't know what's going on. Like, what's happening?
To tell you the truth, I'm happy working. I'm doing like industrial maintenance work, and man, I'm happy every day, man. I tell people that I'm happy every day. Uh, Up to this point, keep in mind, I'm not even a whole 2 months out yet, brother. And
No,
man, I haven't found a single moment of boredom yet. Ashlyn tells me that I don't know how to relax, and I guess I'm trying to learn how to do that, slowly but surely. Because in my mind, I relax here and there from time to time, but my mind is always thinking about what I need to do, what I could be doing, to build a future for myself, man. Because in my mind, I've the first half of my life or more is gone, brother. I'm beginning my life at 42 years old, man. When I walked out of those prison doors, I don't own a single thing in the entire world except for the one pair of clothes I'm wearing on my back. Ground zero, day one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So man, I'm driven and I'm hungry. And but
good. That's what I want to hear
as
too,
much as
man.
I love working, yeah, as much as I love working, man, and I need that paycheck. I got bills to pay. I got a mouth to feed. All that, man. All the practicalities of life. I'm slowly acquiring clothes little by little, and all the practicalities of life. Cups, silverware. I'm talking mundane stuff that most people don't even think of and take for granted. All that, man. I'm having to start from scratch, and but the job, as much as I like it and I plan on working it for the foreseeable future, no, that's not going to be my future, in totality. The dream right now, because I don't have concrete plans. Well, I got some, but the dream would be to be able to be like a life coach and an advocate. That's really what I would like to do, man.
Right. So
I've been a
hold on.
mentor for like
Let,
15 years. I love it.
let me
Yeah.
cut you off real quick about that. So that's what I wanted you to say. So people, we got about 560 people watching. You have to understand,
Mhm.
he has not been home, not even 2 months yet. Okay. But I personally told him myself, I feel like this man would be the best candidate possible for somebody that is a life coach, for somebody who is out on bond, somebody who is borderline in and out, you know what I mean? And there are people that do that. So that is what I think he was called for. The way that he's matured mentally, he's been speaking and things like that. And as soon as he figures this out, he will be able to help a lot of people, because this is the way I look at it, bro. Right? I'm not a prison advocate, not even slightly, because I know the quality and caliber of some of those men in there, just like you do. Some of the men deserve to be in there. Man,
Right.
there's men in there that deserve to be locked in a seg, turn the lights off and don't feed them. You know what I'm saying? But there's also men where, nah, I'm being real though, right? So I mean, there's men in there. It's hard. So my whole thing was, I'm realistic. I know being an advocate is such an uphill battle. It's climbing Mount Everest, man, and it's hard, right?
Yes.
But I knew if
Yeah.
I could just change one person's life watching this, that I could keep one person out. And I've gotten, like I say all the time, over 1,000 messages from, I don't know, maybe even 2,000 now, from men telling me that I've helped them do that. And I feel proud
Yeah. That's
about that.
awesome, bro.
Yes, but
That's
listen, so
awesome.
what they need you for is, there are men that didn't grow up with their family bikers. They didn't grow up around a bunch of Crips and Bloods and all that, but they're unfortunately, due to life circumstances, they're going to prison, whether it be DWI, whether they fell victim to an addiction, things like that. And
Yes.
they bad need you, Shannon, to tell them they're going to be okay. I'm the guy trying to scare the
Yeah.
hell out of them, right? I'm the one trying to tell them, hey, man, you might get extorted. You're going to be eating pork all the time. Like, yeah, it's hot, it's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be. But somebody
Yes.
out
I'm
here,
going to tell them how to survive. Yeah.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? But you will tell them how to survive in a way to stay out of trouble, stay out
Without
the way.
losing their mind.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
What I would
saying?
want
So,
to do is tell them how to survive without losing their mind, and how to come out the other side of it and actually take the time to be a better person. Like one thing that nobody has in the free world that we we call it the free world out here, that people have in abundance on the inside. And it's like the most valuable commodity in life, time. Nobody out here has time to do anything.
That's right.
On the inside, it's the opposite. You got all this time. What are you doing with it? Man, you could be preparing all kinds of stuff for your future, man. You could be bettering yourself in so many different ways. And you ain't got to do it 24/7. You could throw some leisure time in there for this, that, or the other, but you still got years of time. Use it for something, man. Make it like one of the things I told myself, all that time in there, man, I have to make it count for something, man. It's got to be for something. It can't be for nothing. It can't be,
Yeah. So, man, I'm so happy you came on here with me tonight, man. People needed to hear this, right? They need to see more men because listen, I've had personal friends on here, and I know you know, of course, you're fresh out. You haven't seen YouTube, but there's other people with similar YouTubes like this that have passed away. They've been killed. They've died. Some of them are going back to prison. There's a cat that actually one of the biggest prison YouTubers in the world is a white guy from California named Wes Watson, right? He just caught an aggravated assault in Florida. Wes Watson is millions of subscribers. He's one of those life coaches I was telling you about, but he's a foul life coach. He tears them down. He don't build them up. He's not like what we're talking. But my whole point is,
the opposite.
Bro, the world was at his hands because everything he did went viral. He had the look, right? Full of them steroids, tattoos, yelling and screaming. He was the stereotype, but he wasn't nobody that I would ever want to give me no advice in anything in life. And now he's back. But listen, now he's back on an aggravated assault in Florida. I don't know the situation. Maybe he can beat the case. Maybe he can't. But he's going to learn these southern prison systems is a lot different than them West Coast ones too. Like they got human rights out there in their prisons, and we don't really believe in them too much in the South, But so the best way, to continue to be a leader, though, man, is not do like my personal friends, my brother Saucy D, and a few other people, Big C. A lot of cats that made videos with me are either on the way back to prison or already in prison, and that's just because, hey, we really live that life, and some of them still do in and out. The streets call you. People are battling with demons, things like that. Man, these men been locked up their whole life too. But the way you can really be the leader out here, man, is just keep straight and don't go back, man. Make everybody proud. I'm proud of you right now, but there's a lot of people watching this, bro. Hey, we had about 800 people watching earlier. They're watching your story. It's powerful, and just keep making yourself proud. Fuck everybody else. Keep making yourself proud, brother. Like for real.
Absolutely, man. I'm just starting out, man. I'm off to a great start, but this is just the beginning, man. I've been dreaming about this for years, brother. Now I finally got the chance to put it into action, man. I'm ready.
Yeah. No, so listen with that. I'm gonna close this out, man, because my daughter's getting ready to be home, and I gotta go. And I thank you for everybody. If you're watching this, double tap the screen for us before y'all get up out of here. Double tap the screen. That's how you like these videos on YouTube and help get them likes up. And just thank you for this man for coming. And so when they first get out, it's raw, it's real, it's emotional. I know it's it's the realest that we get. So we appreciate this. And this is a man that actually has changed a lot. And he didn't come home and change. He changed in there. That's why the story is kind of different, and we're proud of you, brother. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. You working tomorrow?
Don't think so. Super Bowl.
That's what I was wanting too. All right, I'm gonna be posted up watching the Super Bowl too. I know everybody else is. Texas Prison Story family, thank you for being here. I appreciate y'all. Y'all share this video out for us. We'll catch y'all later.